5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening. I bet you thought I'd gone then. Good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye, hello. Wherever you are in the world, welcome along. It's 6 o'clock. Therefore, it must be the news show. If you're in the chat and Craig and Vicky are, welcome along, guys. Do add your comments and they will appear in the bottom corner, as you can see. If you're watching on catch up, why not get your comments in below? Always interested in reading those. And if you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, as I always say, thank you for lending me your ears. It's a busy time being a Leicester fan at the moment, Steve. Good evening. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's Friday, a long weekend, so, can't complain. And I'm not travelling down to Charlton tomorrow, so even better.
Every cloud, as they say.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll have some beers up here instead.
We talked about this yesterday. This was quick. I've never known sort of the rumour break and then it happened so quickly. Ipswich obviously a lot quicker at doing these things than Leicester are. And it's interesting because over the last few years, I've heard probably more anti-Kasey comments than pro-Kasey comments. And yet, suddenly, everybody's going mad because we've sold him. You can't win. I think you're not a fan, if I'm correct.
I'm not a fan. I think it's more of a case of I don't think he's as good as what we've got on the wings at the moment. And if you can get £12 million for a backup player, it makes sense as it's pure profit. So, that's I think he's a good player, but he just can't take on his man, and that frustrates me more than anything.
I like him, like you say, as a squad player. If Fatawu, as I said yesterday, if he's on form, then you've got to play Fatawu. But
yes.
We know we've said this before with the likes of Ricardo and Justin that when you've been off for a long time with an injury, you're never quite the same when you come back. And I think he was, like you say, it's to me a bit like a Hamza. Not necessarily going to get a big player of the season, but he was always there, could always step in a couple of positions. But as you said, 12 million plus add-ons, that ain't a bad deal.
No, it's not. I mean, we turned down, I think it was 8 going up to 10 from Sunderland in January. So to get £12 million for him plus add-ons, fair play to John Rudkin. He's done something right for a change. We bemoan him as much as we like, but when he does something good, you've got to hold your hands up and say, fair play.
Somebody will not be happy. Somebody will be sat there going, we could have got 15 million for it, But yeah, it's 12 million plus 14 add-ons. And everybody was saying like, we should have sold him to Sunderland back in the day, blah, blah, blah. And yet, like you say, here we are with more money. And apparently they're very achievable add-ons as well.
Yeah, it's to promotion, isn't it? So if they get promoted, we basically... So if they get promoted, we're guaranteed a decent wage back as well. And it's all profit, which is the most important thing. We said yesterday, any money that comes into the club, this is pure profit that goes on to this season's accounts, which means that, the accounting period for next year will look healthier.
Thank God, maybe we will have start a season next season where we're not thinking, oh God, are we going to get a points deduction? What's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, at the moment, just to sidetrack very quickly, my opinion is just take whatever punishment they're going to give us and let's just move on, because it's just ridiculous. It's dragging on and ruins football season in a way.
Well, yeah, I mean, we support football clubs, and to go watch games, to sign players, and to see goals go in the back of the net. We don't support football clubs to follow PSR and accounting periods. I didn't sign up as a kid thinking, oh, I can't wait to see the spreadsheet at the end of the year. It's more of a case of, I can't wait if we win a trophy at the end of the year.
Yes, exactly. Now, look, Kasey McAteer, 23 years old, came to the academy. I guess what we're seeing at the moment of him, or what we've seen of him most recently, is probably as good as it was going to get.
Yes. Yeah, I mentioned previously that he was given a chance under Enzo, and he started the season really well, but the injury knocked his confidence, took him out of the team, which meant that Abdul went ahead of him. And in that situation, when Abdul's on form, he's one of the best players in the league. So you're not going to get ahead of him. And when he came on, he had sort of 20 minutes appearance here and there. He wasn't as effective last season and towards the end of the championship season anyway. So yeah, a backup player for that sort of money. And let's be honest, if he does well at Ipswich, fair enough. They've signed a good player for that sort of money. But we all know that in football, you can spend all the money in your life, all the money that you want, but there's no guarantee that he'll turn out to be a good player. So,
And of course, we've got this point that if he does well for Ipswich, it does well for us because of the the bonuses.
Yeah, and he's 24, so he's not a young lad anymore, is he? He
No.
needs to go and spread his wings. You can't expect him to stay here for another 4 or 5 years and be a bit part player. He wants to go and play football, and Ipswich is a good place to do that. They've got a good manager, they've got a good squad, and everyone seems to be pulling in the right direction in Ipswich compared to our club, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, but do you think this sort of sale is purely because we've got all the youngsters there, and we know that they're not all the finished article, and we saw against Huddersfield a lot of them have, maybe not as good as we thought they were, but because we've got those coming through, it allows us to do this.
Well, exactly. We've got Wanya Marcel, who can play on either wing as well. He's a good young lad that has.
I always forget about him.
Yeah, he was given a chance under Enzo, but apparently his attitude wasn't very up to scratch. So it'll be good to see him as a backup coming off the bench. I mean, we mentioned the fact we've got Bobby de Cordova-Reid to come back as well. So
please don't.
Those two players, maybe combined are as good as Kasey, or could do a job more than Kasey. And I mentioned yesterday that if you can get £12 million for a player that could potentially win you maybe 2 or 3, 4 points over the season, it's a good trade. I'd rather take the money and be healthy in a financial situation than keep a player, turn down that money, and then still have the points reduction and not go up at the end of the season.
Just looking here, did we get 6 through Indeedy?
I think it was 8.
Was it 8?
I think it was a release clause. So it was either 8 or 9 million there or thereabouts.
Right. We'll say 8. That means that we've sold 4 players. We've made 42 million. We've not made 42 million because obviously some of that is, certainly with Mads. Some of that is as part of it. It's only really Mads where there's a sell-on clause. But 42 million. Let's say 40 million if we take that sell-on clause out. Surely, that must be clearing PSR in some form. That must put us in really good stead. And do you think now we can start look at maybe bringing people in?
You'd like to think so. With the black hole from going down is quite large. And obviously, if we do sell Bilal as well, that's 70 odd million that we've got through the door. So you would like to think that the rest of the money would be invested if there's sort of 15, 20 million pounds to be invested. that's not sniffed at in this league. Not many clubs can throw that sort of money around, even in the Championship. So, as long as we can replace in the areas where we are desperate for options, like up front, as we say, and if we lose other players, we can then go into the market and reinvest into better players in those positions to fit Marty's system. Great, I'll take it all day long. But yeah, the money we've got coming in is a good sign. But I guess we don't know about the financial situation at the club, so this could be now profit, but it could also be £12 million short of where we still need to be before we can reinvest.
But we have to accept, I think, as well, if we have got if Marty has got any money to spend, it's not going to be the big bulk of that. I think, the majority will be PSR, in the PSR bucket. But we can't go out now and be paying 5 million or well, maybe 5, but we can't go out and be paying 10, 11 million for players, like we were when Enzo came. I think we've got to sort of look and say, we've got to start shopping maybe at Tesco rather than at Marks and Spencer's now.
So the only caveat to that is that with PSR, you are more to not big word, but yeah, you use that over the year of the contract. So if we sign a player for £10 million and it's on a 5-year deal, that's spread over the contract.
Yeah.
So if we have a budget of £20 million, you can probably bring in 3 or 4 players at £10 million there or thereabouts and spread it over, because it's all done in like with this deal here, it's £4 million spread over 3 years plus the add-ons. So there should be some leeway to spend money now potentially, but again, we don't know. But yeah, I agree. I think you don't want to go out and spend £20 million because we've made that mistake with Oliver Skip. If you spend 10 to 12 million pounds and you can do that twice or 3 times on players, great, because you're going to hopefully bring in quality players for that amount of money. But then I think the club will go towards loaning players more often than not, because there's no limit in the Championship, or it's a very small limit compared to what it was last year with 2 loan deals only in the Premier League, whereas in the Championship you could probably bring 4 or 5 players in and it's not too bad.
Can I just say, by the way, to everybody that is watching live, there is a poll currently going on in the chat. I'm just going to see if it's updated at all. In fact, I don't think anybody's voted. Oh, here we go, 22 votes. And it doesn't show me. Let me just... the choice was Kasey McAteer or 12 million plus add-ons. That was the choice. And at the moment, I had to vote. That's why I couldn't see it. 61% has gone for the money and 39% has gone to we should have kept Kasey McAteer. Do you think... Because I had a message from Jim, who's our American presenter, saying, are we strengthening a rival by selling him to Ipswich? And I have to be honest with you, I don't think they're a rival in as much as I think they were going to be a lot better than us.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're only the rival in the sense of that they were predicted to go up and fighting for the top of the table, and that's where we want to be. But having seen Kasey play quite a lot over the last few years, I don't necessarily think he is sort of, because if you look, they've lost to Maury Hutchinson, and he's not that. That's for sure. Kasey is nowhere near that level of player. He's a good Championship player that has potential to be a Premier League player, but he's definitely not. So while in a way we are strengthening him and giving them an option in that side of the pitch, I don't think he's better than Fatawu. So and I think most people would pick him over McAteer anyway. But yeah, I think you are strengthening them to an extent, but the money that we've brought in will hopefully go towards us strengthening in areas. And that I keep saying it, and I'll say it to the blue in the face, the club is more important, and having a backup player sit around on the bench when you can get 12 and a bit million for him, it just makes no sense.
It does.
It's just silly. And I get people want Kasey, but would they? I think the bigger question is, would they want to play him over Fatawu? Because I wouldn't.
Do you think then? Because no, you're quite right. I mean, we know the shit we're in with the PSR and the money, you've got to, at some point, if somebody came in for Fatawu and offered us 40 million quid, I would bite the hand off. You know what I mean? Because, like you say, no player is bigger than the club. Do you think, though, this means, because obviously Fatawu's linked with going away or leaving the club, do you think now Leicester will resist? Although if somebody comes with a decent offer, like I say, it's going to be difficult, but do we resist now offers for Fatawu?
Yeah, I think it adds more value to that potential deal. So if somebody came in now and said, okay, we'll give you £40 million, Leicester can say, well, we don't need the money now. We'll take 55. And if that is the case, 55 million is not something you can sniff at, really, as a football club in this position.
No, it's not. That's the thing. Excuse me, I just thought it's something out.
I don't think we'd tell him now. We're too close to the end of the window for a potential replacement to come in.
We're just talking. We're going to do a sort of a special on the transfer deadline, and we're going to be talking about all the movements. It's getting close to sort of time. I think there might be more outgoings. I mean, Harry Winks is still linked with going out. Faze and Vestergaard, although I don't think either. Possibly Faze, I think, out of those two. I can't see Vestergaard leaving, to be honest with you. I think he knows he's on too good a thing. But can we've got to start looking, and I'm sure the club are, because look, this broke yesterday. About Kasey going. I'm sure Ipswich didn't ring us up yesterday and say, can we have Kasey? It's been going on for weeks, and we just know that our club are very, very quiet. They don't sort of go out and shout about these things, do they? So there's going to be, I'm sure, things going on in the background.
Yeah, there probably will be. I think the fact that we're bringing money into the club will hopefully strengthen that position to then go out and sign players. I think we all knew that we were going to be a selling club this summer anyway. And if it meant that we had to wait to bring players in, then it is what it is. But there's no doubt in my mind that we have stuff going on in the background where we've got a list of players that preferably would bring into the club. And then it's a case of, okay, we can now go for these players. Let's start the ball rolling. There is still 9 days left of the transfer window, which is a long time in football, especially when the transfer window is open for so long. But we see a lot of deals happen in the last week, and you will find that a lot of Premier League clubs will allow younger lads to leave more so in the last week of the transfer window than at the beginning of the window. So, I mean, I think there is obviously stuff going on behind the scenes, and we'll probably see some more movement on Monday or Tuesday next week. I know bank holiday, so they'll all go away for the weekend. So it'll be Tuesday next week. We'll see some movement.
Yes, yeah. John there said, and I know you said this yesterday, so I'll let you explain about it again. We also have the parachute payments, but you said yesterday you pissed on my party, and we're not going to get as much as I thought we were going to.
No, that's right, because we obviously went back up. So we get the full payment when we first went down, but we went back up. So it means that we're actually in the second season of parachute payments, not the first again. It doesn't reset, unfortunately. So
it would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice.
Yeah.
I bet if it was bloody Man United, they'd reset it.
Yeah, well, probably.
Yeah. Very quickly, and I did say the other day that I had got a topic if nothing had happened, but obviously things have happened. But very quickly, we know we need a striker. That is, forget everything else. If all we do is bring a striker in, and I have to say that I got a message. I can't believe this. I got a message off a Palace fan saying, could we have him for Oswan Edward? Well, no. I think my second word was off in the reply. I'm not going to reply. We've been there, seen it. But Tom, I don't know if Tom is still in, Advocate. I don't know if Tom is still in, Mr. Frozen Balls, but he is such a big advocate of Mr. Vardy coming back because he's not got a club. He's not been snapped up. He is available. Therefore, he is available. It wouldn't cost us anything. I don't know what he'd expect on wages, whether he'd expect to come, if he did come back, to be on the same wages. I've said I don't want him back, and that's no disrespect to him. I just think he's gone now, let's move on, But I suppose the nearer we get to the deadline and we haven't got a striker in, it's going to linger. Would you have him back?
No, and it's more to the point of, we've said for the last 4 years we need to move on from Jamie Vardy, and now we've got the opportunity to do that. You need to take it. He was on 140 grand a week, during his last season at Leicester. That is something that we can't afford to pay at any stage going forward. That we're not that club that is in the Premier League challenging for Europe anymore. And to give that sort of money to him, it doesn't make any sense. He had the perfect send-off as well, scoring his 200th goal in his 500th game. It makes sense that we move on from that. And as much as, I love Jamie Vardy as a Leicester legend, I think he gets snapped up by another club by the end of this week anyway. Any of the next week with the transfer window. Yeah. And I think we'll probably see him heading sort of north of the border more than anything. But I wouldn't take him back, because you're then taking up potential spaces for any new signings that come in. And the number 9 shirt's gone now. We've got a new number 9, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think that the new number 9 will have a big part to play this season. Whether that's going to be, a week in start or a week in coming on with 15 minutes to go to hold up play and get free kicks, we will wait to see. But no, I think I feel sorry for whoever we get in. I mean, in a way, I can see them actually giving Vardy the number 9. Ayew the number 9, because whoever we get in, all we're going to hear is, well, he's not Jamie Vardy, is he? If he's not scored 10 goals in the first 2 games, Jamie Vardy would have got that. We've got to move on, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, and we didn't sit back in the early 2000s and say, Steve Walsh would have put that in the back of the net, or when Izzet left, we didn't think, he'd have scored from 50 yards, 40 yards. You do move on from players that are legends at the club, and I think if we had gone out early and signed players in the summer window, we wouldn't have been talking at any point about Vardy coming back to the club. And that's I think that's the key point there, is that if we'd have signed a striker, we'd have gone, well, we've got somebody else, and we might see movement in Daka going by the end of the window. I'm not sure. But, I feel sorry for him, because, yes, he's not good enough, but he's never really been given the chance because of Jamie Vardy. It's hard to live in that shadow.
Yes, yeah. And finally, before we just move on to another couple of items, we wish him all the best.
Yep.
He's, like you say, he's an academy player. And, with the likes of Harvey Barnes, with the likes of, oh my God, my mind's gone blank here. But when it's an academy player, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, that was it.
Yeah. The only one we don't give it to is Chilwell.
I was trying to avoid saying Chilwell, but they have to go for the good of the club. And like you say, the club is bigger than any one player, even as I've got to say, Jamie Vardy. So we wish him all the best. Hope he does well at Ipswich. I don't wish him any permanent injury like I did for Fafana when he went to Chelsea. And to be honest with you, I got my wish with that one, didn't I?
Yeah. You were the voodoo curse for him.
I'd got his doll and I was sticking pins in him and everything. Believe you me, I cannot stand that man. So we got Jake Evans, and like you say, we got Marcel. So we don't need to buy to replace this guy, which is a good thing. And as long as Fataru doesn't get a serious injury, and he turns up, because look, we know last time we were in this position, he was our star player virtually.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So right, let me move on then, because there was some other news. This one came up today. Silko Thomas, not Luke, before anybody says, Silko Thomas, as you can see, to QPR. This was in Football League World, but it says QPR issued warning over Leicester City Silko Thomas swoop. He was largely ineffective at Wigan Athletic.
Yes, he didn't score a goal at Wigan last season.
He did what, sorry?
He didn't score a goal last season for Wigan.
No. He got one in the pre-season for us, which was a pretty pretty decent strike, to be honest with you. Again, because we've got so many youngsters all coming through at the same time, we're not going to be able to keep them all happy. This guy, again, it's going to be pure profit, isn't it, if we sell him on?
Yep.
I think, all right, so he didn't do very well at Wigan. I think he probably had an injury as well. Did he get injured? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I only played 24 games last season, so he could have got injured at some point.
Yeah. I mean, the guy that writes for FLW for QPR says he needs a League 2 or League 1 level move. Do you think he would be a good move for QPR? And if they do come in with an offer, do we let him go?
I think we let him go because he's 21 now, and we with his one loan out last year, he didn't really sort of set the league on fire at all, and he's not going to feature for us. In all honesty, I agree that he's probably a League 2/League 1 level. I'm probably more inclined to say he's a League 2 level player than anything else, but I don't think he's going to make the step up to the first team for us, unfortunately. And if we're going to go out and spend money on a striker, we've already got Ayew and Daka and a potential new striker. There's no space for him.
And do you think, like you say, I think sometimes we see these players and they play one game and they can flatter to deceive.
Yeah.
And we saw a big improvement when Rude left and Kingy took over in the pre-season, but then we couldn't have looked any worse, could we? Let's be honest with you.
No, scraping the barrel there with Rude, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think has he been on the bench for any of the games at all?
I don't think so. Huddersfield. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just checking. Yeah, he was unused substitute, I think. So, he was actually on the bench then. Yeah, I don't think he came on, did he? I don't remember him coming on.
I didn't remember him coming on. And trust me, I was there. It was not a great game, and I noticed him.
No, you do remember. But yeah, so if that's he makes the bench in a game when we're putting a B team out, and that B team isn't doing very well, and he's not even brought on then, you've got to say he's probably coming towards the end of his career with us. And like you say, I don't know what we'd get, 3 million possibly for him.
I think that's probably a bit high, to be honest. You're probably looking at sort of $1 million to $2 million maximum for him at the moment.
Okay. Well, if we get that, let's say then that's still profit.
It's still profit. Yeah, exactly. And he's been at the club since 2021. And he's not been given a chance necessarily, but he's been playing quite well for the under-21s team. So he's got potential. I just don't think he's going to be anywhere near Leicester level.
No. As I'm looking at you now, Steve, it does look like you're a moose with a couple of antlers coming out your head.
it's like Martin Keown's jumped at me and I'm Ruud van Nistelrooy, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh God, don't remind me of him. Oh, that was a bad time. But it is this gentleman you got up there on your backdrop today. Love to see you change it every day. I move a few things round, but you probably can't tell. Nottingham Forest, you see what I did here? Tremendous deal or a rip-off. They are linked with a move for him. I have to say, I wouldn't be sorry again. It sounds like I'm saying, all these players are, but they want 10 million for him.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure if there's any sell-on clause in his contract. They're in Europe, so they do need, the extra players. We know how difficult it is sometimes to play in Europe and the Premier League. 17 we bought him for. 10 million, would we take it?
Yeah, I would. It's clear that he's not. I don't. Is he better than Luke Thomas? Probably, but at this level, he's not shown himself to be a decent fullback in the Premier League, and he doesn't seem like he's up for the fight this season or the last time we got relegated because he went out on loan to Bologna and did pretty well. To be fair, at Bologna, I was surprised I didn't sign him, but we all know Italian clubs like to loan players and then not buy them afterwards. But yeah, I mean, 10 million with potential add-ons, I'd snap your hand off because again, he's a player that hasn't really shown that he can do a job in a Leicester shirt. And if you can go to Forest to make them worse, then by all accounts, I'll drive him there myself. He's not far away, so I can drive him.
Yeah, we're not worried about making a rival better with this one, are we?
No,
I mean,
we're not.
If Manny is still in the chat, I don't know if he is or he's gone, but he'll tell you who he thinks is better because I was on Blue Tinted Glasses with Duck. I don't know if you know Duck, who is obviously from the same part of the world as this gentleman, and he was saying that he was, I don't know how much, but he was a lot better than Luke Thomas.
Yeah.
Now, I must admit, there was, and I'm trying to think who it was, the guy that lives in Sheffield. I apologise to him for forgetting his name.
Is it Ross?
Ross, that's it, yeah. Who, we disagreed with him, and he was getting quite upset about it, shall we say. Thomas... He found it. Yeah, I mean, we love to hate players, don't we? That's the Leicester way. But if it was Kristiansen or Tom, and don't get me wrong, if somebody came in and offered me 15 for Thomas now, I'd take it. But that's purely because of the situation we're in. But for me, if one of them's got to go, it's this guy more than Thomas.
Yeah, I would rather this guy leave over Thomas because as much as Thomas is not really good enough for this team anyway, he still tries his hardest. You can't really say that about Kristiansen. And he it reminds me of that story where Ben Chilwell didn't want to take throw-ins at Millwall. He sort of got away from it all, and I get that impression with Kristiansen. So yeah, I would rather keep Thomas. But again, I agree. If somebody came in and said, "We'll give you 10 for Kristiansen and 5 for Thomas," I'd be like, "Okay, see you later. You can both go."
Yes. I'm just having a look what he's on. I don't think he's on a huge amount of money. He's on 25 a week. Mm-hmm. Thomas isn't even on my list, so I don't know what he's on. But I don't think it's an awful lot with him having come up through the youngest teams. But yeah, I think. I did see somebody put up a post saying garage sale, no reasonable offer, refuse sort of thing.
It does feel a bit like that, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. But like I said, this is the season we've got to bite the bullet.
Yes.
And if we can sell players, get money in, get us back on a financial stability, and not go down, and I don't think we will go down. I think there's going to be worse teams than us. Then I think next season, we start to see the fight back, what have you. So,
yes.
Now, last one then before we go, because we do say these quickly. From a lion to a fox. Apparently, we've approached Millwall to speak to them about Mila. Oh, you pronounce it, I can't.
Yeah, Ivanovic.
Mihailo Ivanovic, that's it. Ivanovic is easy when you compare it to his first name.
Yes.
Leicester made an inquiry to Millwall for striker Ivanovic. The Foxes look to bolster their attacking options. Sources have told Football Insider. This is Peter O'Rourke, who again is quite a solid force. A number of clubs are keen on the Serbian international who netted 12 goals in 37 championship appearances for the Lions last season. Do you think with the wing options we've got, this is the sort of player we need to be looking at? I don't know if you know much about him.
So yeah, he's a very good striker for sure. He fits the system for Marty, I would say. I know they turned down a £6 million bid for him from, it was an Italian club. It might have been Palermo. I'm not entirely sure, or something like that. Anyway, and they're looking at more sort of 12 to 14, where we can afford that if we are looking at with Kasey leaving and stuff. We could probably afford that sort of money now. That's not a guarantee, but you'd like to think so.
I agree totally. Yeah,
he knows the league. He knows where the back of the net is as well, and I think he's a tricky sort of striker that's a little bit raw. There's a slight sort of Jamie Vardy about him, but I say that about a lot of strikers that I like. But if it was this guy leading the line, I'd be very happy for sure.
He's only 20 as well, so he fits ticks that box for Marty. He likes the younger ones. He plays for the Serbian national team. Mm-hmm. He's good at hold-up play, and he knows where the net is, as we've said. And look, I know 12 million doesn't sound an awful lot in this day and age, but like we said earlier, we've got 40-odd million there.
Yep.
You'd think that we're allowed to go over. We're not trying to get back to a position with PSR where we're balancing the books. You're allowed to go so much over. Now,
exactly.
You would hope that somebody at the club is going, yeah, we can afford this. Because he does sound superb. But every time I get excited about signing a player, I mean, I was quite hopeful of getting Callum Doyle back. You, again, either love him or don't like him, obviously, but he's gone to, would you believe, Wrexham.
Yes.
But just looking here, his record so far, 48 appearances for Vojvodina, which was his local club. And again, I've butchered that. 10 goals, 42 for Millwall, 13. Is that a good enough return for us? 13 out of 42 games? Or do we need to be looking at a 20 a goal, 20 a season striker? And can we guarantee that if we did want that?
So I would say that him scoring 13 goals in that Millwall squad, last season, they were very good. And it was a good return. I would say that we have better wingers, and as long as we can put the ball into the box, he'll score goals. So, there's no... it's very difficult to say that he couldn't score 15 to 20 goals a season. But again, he is only young. And you'd like to think that we spread the goals out over the team rather than just relying on one player anyway. So I think he would be a very good signing, especially because if you look at his work rate, he does like to press. He's good in the air as well. And, he can score goals. And that's the most important bit about football, isn't it? Getting that ball in the back of the net. And is he an upgrade on Patterson Daka and Jordan Ayew? And I think we can all agree, yes, basically, yes.
That needs clipping. I think we can honestly say I'm 64 now. I'm overweight. I've got 2 left feet, and I think I'd be an upgrade on Patterson Daka. So there we go. Apparently, though, it was revealed in July. Apparently, that Everton and Wolves were interested in him. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, if a Premier League club comes in, we're buggered, aren't we, really, I guess. But
but then that's when you sort of hope that you go in there now and get it done rather than waiting for a different club to come in for them.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Steve, thank you very much, mate.
No worries, thanks for having me on.
Have a good bank holiday. Don't miss the game tomorrow too much.
I'll probably watch it in the pub with the friends that are coming up. So
it's the best way to watch Leicester at the moment because you can get pissed at whatever happens.
Exactly.
But thanks so much, mate. Take care. I'll speak to you soon. All the best. Thanks so much to Steve there. We will be back with Steve. It's Bank Holiday Monday, so I don't know what we're going to be doing with it being a Bank Holiday Monday. But what I can assure you is we're going to be back in about 19 minutes because thank you for tuning in from Thailand. Thank you very much indeed. Nice of you to pop in, as they say. Nice to pop in. Nice. So McAteer's gone. I know he's very much a Marmite figure. You love him or you hate him. That seems to be Leicester fans' way. As much as I loved him, 12 million plus achievable add-ons for a squad player, and he's never going to start, like we say, over Fatawu, as Steve said. If Fatawu is fit and on form, it's good business. And like you say, we're very, very quick to knock John Rudkin. I'm going to give him credit for this. So we'll be back, like I say, 18 minutes. We're going to look at the Martin Cifuentes pre-Charlton press interview and see what he thinks. And thank you, Blue Fox. And we will also be looking at the training videos and see what they've been doing down at Seagrave. I'll be back with Wayne then, 7 o'clock. Don't you dare go away. Don't forget, as Blue Fox says, please like the video whether you're watching it live or catch up. And also subscribe if you're new. Really does help the channel. Thanks so much, guys. See you in 19 minutes. Like I say, you've got time to go and have a wee, throw a packet of crisps down your throat, and then come back. See you in a bit.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.